A couple of things in closing. Just practical things from your pastor. Number one, I encourage you to be honest. True or false? Paul's honest. I'm in prison and I'm suffering. Pretty honest. It's good to be honest. I would encourage you to be honest. Be honest with the Lord. Be honest with the Lord's people. Number two, talking about it helps. It helps you and it helps others. True or false? Knowing Paul's circumstances and situation, do you love him more or less? Do you love him more or less? Love more. Why? Because you know him. Because he reveals who he is. He tells you who he is. Some of you don't burden anyone with anything. You don't share anything. You think, well, I need to be self-sufficient. Look, you don't need to be any holier than Paul. Okay? You don't need to be any tougher than Paul. You don't need to be any more godly than Paul. If Paul talks about his suffering, his affliction, it's okay for you to talk about your suffering and your affliction. Some of you have things you've never told anyone. They're your secrets. You need to talk to the Lord about those things and somebody you trust. Spouse, parent, biblical counselor, church leader, community group, redemption group, after service prayer. You got to talk to somebody. That'll help them not lose heart. It'll help you not lose heart. It'll allow you to be known and loved. It'll give them an opportunity to know and love you. That's what Paul's doing. Number three, sometimes comfort is better than an answer. Paul isn't giving them an answer. He's not saying, but my trial will go well, and I'm sure that I will win, and then I shall be released, and I will go preach another church, and, no. He doesn't know what the future holds, and he's not looking for an answer for his suffering, and he's not providing an answer for their suffering. He's saying, well, God can be glorified, and we can grow, and we can do good for others, so that's what we do know. Where I have erred as a father and a pastor and a husband is on the occasions where I've tried to provide answers and I should have just provided comfort. That sometimes people don't need an enormous syllogism. They need somebody to put an arm around them and to pray for them and to just be there with them. Just to be there. I was going through a hard season about, a couple of years ago, and my best friend, Grace, she comes up to me and she says, what can I do for you? I said, just be with me. I said, could you just be with me? She says, well, do you need to talk about anything? I said, I don't think there's an answer or a solution. I just need a friend. Just her holding my hand and sitting with me, that's what I needed. See, God doesn't always give us an answer, but he gives us his presence. He says he'll never leave us nor forsake us. And as God's people, sometimes we can't provide an answer, but we can provide a comfort. We can just be there. Just be there. I think I'll leave it at that. If you're not a Christian, I want you to bring your sin and your suffering to Jesus. I want you to be forgiven, and I want you to be served by him. If you are a Christian, I invite you to be honest with Jesus and people you trust. To say things like Paul did, I'm suffering, hard season, hard life. And my hope for you, my pleading with you, my affection toward you is the same as Paul's. I ask you to not lose heart. And I hope that as you examine your own afflictions, you would simply ask these questions. How could this be used for others' good? How could this be used for my growth? And how could this be used for His glory? And I believe that's the way that we prevent the losing of hope.